What's happening, gang? It's your boy Retro, back again with another reaction video. Yeah. Hold on to your seats, you guys. We jump aboard this wild ride today. This following clip just about blew me out of my seat. Just by the headline alone. It's titled, Obama is running for re-election. I seen this, my jaw about hit the floor. We all know we've been seeing the left, pulling out all the stops in order to get Trump off that ballot for the 2024 election. I'm seeing them do just about anything to get another Democratic president for the 2024 cycle. But this right here, it just is bizarre. I can't even fathom how they're doing this. Because not to mention, didn't Obama already do 2 terms? I'm not really sure you can run for another 3rd term. So I'm excited to check out what's going on in this viral clip, what the Dems are up to now. So we're going to jump straight into it, guys, and I'll get my thoughts on the back end, guys. So definitely stick around to the end so you guys get my thoughts on the back end. But let's get straight into it, guys. Before we even do that, though, make sure you guys smash that like button, guys. It does not cost a thing. Hit that like button for your boy, and also hit that subscribe button, guys. We're on the road to the truth. Hop aboard for the journey. Let's get into it, y'all.
Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, bringing bad news to the TDS sufferers every single day since 2019. I've been using the word panic, desperation a lot lately, and that's because it absolutely applies. You don't need to be a rocket scientist or the greatest psychoanalyzer of all time to be able to see it. It's incredibly obvious, and now it's not just me saying it. Now, apparently, the puppet master behind the scenes of Joe Biden's presidency or residency, Barack Obama, now confirms our speculation or our assumption to be true. The Democrats are panicking. We went from 6 months ago, Donald Trump is unelectable, Donald Trump is exactly who we want, that's what the Democrat establishment was telling us. We know we could beat Trump, we're more scared of Ron DeSantis and Nikki Haley. We went from that narrative to now, holy crap, what the frick did we do? We've created a monster. Let me show you guys exactly what I mean by that. Democrat electoral panic is seriously setting in, reality's setting in. We got some stuff to get into. So let's roll the tape. All right, folks, so we've all seen this clip, obviously.
Knowing what you know now, do you wish like you had a 3rd term? And I used to say, you know what, if I could make an arrangement where I had a stand-in, a front man or front woman, and they had an earpiece in, and I was just in my basement in my sweats looking through the stuff, and then I could sort of deliver the lines, but somebody else was doing all the talking and ceremony. Wow. I'd be fine with that.
And so we know who's really president here. It's not Joe Biden, and it's Barack Obama. I believe that Joe Biden's 1st term in office is really Obama's 3rd term, and really it's his gloves off term. There's a lot of stuff he would have never been able to get away with during his time in office. It would have either hurt his legacy or made him seem too radical, and so he's using Joe Biden as a proxy to get the job done, attempting to move the nation more towards democratic socialism. Well, it seems like now Barack Obama is worried that he might not get his 4th term.
As President Biden ramps up his general election campaign, there are new warning signs. The Washington Post reporting former President Obama has raised questions about the structure of President Biden's re-election campaign. 2 sources confirmed to NBC News that Obama and Biden met over lunch in December and discussed the campaign, with Obama expressing deep concern about Mr. Trump's political strength. Underscoring the urgency, one source telling me this is an all-hands-on-deck moment.
Here's the report from the Washington Post. Obama, worried about Trump, urges Biden's circle to bolster campaign. Former President Barack Obama has raised questions about the structure of President Biden's re-election campaign, discussing the matter directly with Biden and telling the president's aides and allies the campaign needs to be empowered to make decisions without clearing them with the White House, according to 3 people familiar with the conversation. Obama grew animated in his discussion relating to the 2024 election and former President Donald Trump's potential return to power. One of the people said that he has suggested to Biden advisors that the campaign needs more top-level decision makers at its headquarters in Wilmington, Delaware, where it must empower are the people already in place? Obama has not recommended specific individuals, but he has mentioned David Plouffe, who managed his 2018 race, as the type of senior strategist needed at the Biden campaign. So Obama's sounding the alarm, panicking, and it seems he's now taking over the Biden headquarters, even now attempting to inject his own campaign manager surrogate at the top of the Biden team. They're trying. It seems as though they're literally trying everything these days. But honestly, I think for the most part, it's going to be a futile effort. The reality is that Obama strategies will not work with Joe Biden. Obama wants to inject his own people into the Biden campaign and is also requesting that they have the ability to make decisions without having to clear it with the White House. But what I think Obama doesn't understand is that the problem isn't rhetoric. The Democrats have tried literally everything. The last 2 years has been nothing but rhetoric experimentation coming out of the White House, from ultra MAGA to Bidenomics. The list goes on and on. Everything has failed, and now they're simply returning to Orange Man bad, Ultra MAGA bad, and it's clearly falling flat. The basic reality is that Biden is just done. The people have soured on Joe Biden. Nothing Joe Biden does or says will ever fix the current reality of this void human being currently occupying this executive role. He's a clown, everybody knows it, and there's no fixing that. And when I say everybody, I mean everybody. Obama gets it, he's trying to do what he can, they all get it. And the reason I know they get it isn't necessarily by what they're saying, but rather by what they're doing. They know they can't actually win on the issues. They know that Joe Biden speaking to the American people, first of all, isn't going to draw crowds, but most importantly, isn't going to draw voters to the polls. They know that putting Joe Biden out there pushing some sort of messaging campaign is not going to get people eager for a second Joe Biden term. And so what are they doing? As per usual, attempting to play as many dirty games as they possibly can. That's why all the Democrat donor bucks, all the money, is being spent on lawsuits instead of actual messaging. When you can win on messaging, you don't need to spend money attempting to get your political opponent off the ballot. You don't need to continuously send your anti-democratic goons to do their little media runs justifying the ripping of Donald Trump from the ballot. When you can win on the issues, when you can actually convince people to vote for you, there's no need to engage in that type of behavior, ever. That's the most telling element. Democrat action is almost always correlated not only with election seasons, but with polling numbers. You know, back during the initial indictment drops, when it came out that Alvin Bragg was going to be indicting Donald Trump and that possibly more were to follow, the Democrat calculus of the time was, let's paint Donald Trump like a martyr, so we guarantee that voters support him in the nomination process because he's the guy that we want to face. Well, they got exactly what they voted for. Trump support at the time was on the decline. Ron DeSantis was rising, within 10 points in some polls, but the moment they took those actions, Trump started to skyrocket. But they were hoping that support for Trump would only skyrocket within Republican circles or in the Republican nomination process. Then, all of a sudden, well, this started to happen. Then, probably the scariest part of all, independent support for Trump started to skyrocket. He's up pretty much 10 points and sometimes even more in almost every poll released. Then it gets even worse for the Democrats. Donald Trump starts making gains with black voters and Hispanic voters and young voters. We've covered all of it. All the groups that Democrats thought they had a stranglehold on, all the groups that Democrats believed belonged to them, how disgusting that is, started to jump off the leftist bandwagon, one after another. And now all of a sudden, we're seeing desperate Secretary of States and partisan state Supreme Courts attempt to remove Donald Trump from the ballot. You think that would happen if Trump was polling horribly? Of course it wouldn't. It's always correlated. It's always perfectly timed. The Supreme Court Roe v. Wade draft leak happened right before the midterms. The rating of Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago home happened right before the midterms. All of these Democrat actions are always perfectly timed with either elections or public sentiment shift. They always follow one specific phenomenon, and that is Democrat panic. When Democrats feel as though they have their back against the wall, they'll do literally anything. Nothing will stop them because their thirst for power is unquenchable. And now, of course, history is repeating itself. It's happening once again, except this time it seems to be backfiring. I think this time they took it a step too far. This is the most desperate they've ever been, and that's why we're seeing this multi-pronged attack. But most importantly, when you expose yourself as being anti-democratic, corrupt actors, well, then the narrative shifts, and that's where things start to backfire backfire. That's what we're seeing. That's truly what I believe we're seeing. We're seeing desperation, desperate people attempting multiple Hail Marys at once. Democrat donors are sounding the alarm. The proxy president is now sounding the alarm. And all of it, while disgusting, evil, and wrong, all of it is kind of in a way a good sign. What it actually means is that Trump has a legitimate path towards victory, and they know it. I don't know, I think they've unleashed a political beast here just like they did in 2016. I think Democrats are repeating history. They're crying wolf, engaging the Streisand effect. They're doing everything wrong in their desperate actions, and I'm just hoping it all backfires spectacularly.
Yo, there we have it, guys. Coming from our friend Liberal Hive Mind. Definitely going to be sure to leave that original video link down in the description box below for those of you who want to go over there and check that out. And also for you guys to go over there and show our friend Liberal Hive Mind some love. What we're seeing right now, guys, is the desperation from the left, guys. They are pulling out, like I said in the beginning, they're pulling out all the stops. Liberal Hive Mind even mentioned it. You know, the Supreme Court trying to rule to take Trump off that 2024 ballot. The Secretary of State of Maine trying to take Trump off their state's ballot. This is all desperation from the left. All very clear signs that Trump is in very good shape, guys. They would not be trying to do all this if the court cases were, you know, suffice. If they were doing enough, you know, tying him up enough to where his election or re-election efforts and his campaigning efforts weren't going to be enough to get him in that seat 2024, guys. It's obviously going to be enough. We're seeing this from the constant polling. First, they were trying to dismiss the polling. A lot of people I've seen, even in my comment section, saying polls mean nothing, but we're seeing it not only in the polls, we're seeing it, you know, when Trump is going to these big rallies, going to these events, especially UFC. That's a big tell, because I feel like UFC is generally like a very mixed up bunch. And for, you know, Trump to get, you know, standing ovations, the crowd roaring like he's coming to like the main event, this just really means even more than the polls. You know, this means that he's getting true support on the streets, and not only on the streets, but in the polling, we're seeing it too. So it's all backing each other up. People like you and I probably caught on a little bit earlier, start noticing that Trump was taking some, you know, some really good headway in this race early on. A lot of people from the left are just now starting to realize, you know, that TDS, that Trump derangement syndrome, is hard to get past, guys. They cannot see or fathom a way that Trump could succeed. They only see that he should fail. It takes them a little bit longer to see actual reality, guys, and see past the blinders that they have on because of this Trump derangement syndrome, guys. So they're just now catching on to the fact that Trump is actually, he has a monstrous lead ahead of Biden, all the other candidates, and it looks like he will be our presidential candidate for 2024. Guys, this is why we have our president by proxy, Barack, stepping in and saying, you know, Joe, we need to reevaluate your campaigning efforts, what you're doing, man. We need to restructure this. Matter of fact, scratch all of that. Hire my campaign manager. We need to implement him. He got me elected in my cycle, 2008, so he can definitely get you reelected again, Joe. Let's just try to move him in there. Let's restructure some things, and maybe we'll start polling ahead again. But I think it's a little bit too late. Our Manchurian candidate, Mr. Joe Biden, has, you know, I think he's messed things up a little bit too bad. I don't think there's much room in the American citizen's eye for redemption from Joe Biden, especially in the aspect of being a president. Maybe, you know, we forgive Joe as being, you know, a crappy person. He, you know, comes back, starts doing more philanthropy work. You know, he's giving back humanitarian work, starts giving back and donate and actually trying to, you know, be a decent human being. Then the American people might come out and say, we forgive Joe Biden for being the biggest grift of all time, the biggest grift president, coming, you know, basically stealing an election, and doing whatever he wants with our country in order to benefit him and his family's pockets, guys. Definitely hop in the comment section and let me know your thoughts. Is this the biggest red flag we've seen from the left yet? The biggest tell we've seen is that they're freaking out. We got Obama coming out and saying, Joe Biden, please restructure your campaign efforts. It's not going to work. Definitely let me know in the comment section below, guys. Also, make sure you guys smash that like button, guys. It does not cost a thing. Hit that like button for your boy, and also hit that subscribe button, guys. We're on the road to the truth. Hop aboard for the journey. I'll catch you guys on the next one.